Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/post. That's ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter.com/post.
Hello and welcome to Talk Spooky to Me, the Ghost Story Guys mail show. I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestel.
And this is the show where we get a chance to hear from you, our listeners. Or at least it would ordinarily. Paul, this one's a little bit different.
Keeping me on my toes.
That's it. I got to keep you guessing.
Indeed. And I've prepared by spending... I got a lovely present through the post today from Australia.
The Yowie File, Encounters with Australian Ape Men by Tony Healy and Paul Cropper.
He sent me an email Friday saying, we've stuck it in the post for you, and it turned up today. So 5 days from Australia. That's not bad, is it?
That is a tome.
Yeah.
That is a weighty book.
340 pages.
It still looks like you could beat someone with it.
It's not the biggest book I own, but...
that doesn't surprise me.
I'll wait till I've read it. So yeah, that was a nice surprise today.
No kidding. Well, speaking of nice surprises, like I said, we are issuing the usual format because we have guests, Paul. We have guests. Friends we made through Instagram, which is always a nice surprise. Social media finally getting it right for a change. Our guests are Adam and Dulce of the Weekly Creep podcast. They are here to talk to us about all things spooky. Guys, welcome to the Ghost Story Guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Pew, pew, pew.
We're excited to be here, honestly.
Yeah.
Excited to have you guys. Thank you for coming.
And just in case you can hear, we're actually in the middle of a mad thunderstorm all day. So apologies if that comes across.
It'll add to the ambience.
Yeah.
We can't hear a thing, but that sounds pretty great to me. I'm just about to head back to Victoria, where the weather is very boring. So I'm kind of hoping I can get some secondhand thunder just from your side of the conversation.
Yeah, honestly, not to talk about weather for the whole thing, but we've actually had a week of thunderstorms, and I have been in my element. I'm obviously I'm from Ireland, and I love the rain. It's a weird nostalgia to it now, but as well, the air conditioning in my car is broke, so any little break from the heat, and I'm yes, we're winning.
I wondered about that because you mentioned on a recent episode you were saying that you were driving around and you had a quasi road rage incident. You mentioned there being no AC, and I thought, who the hell drives around Houston with no AC? But I guess if it's broken. Yeah,
it's broken. I mean, I basically I got the diagnosis the other day. It's the car's not worth the air conditioning, so here you are. So I'm just gonna grin and bear it. Yeah, hopefully lose a few pounds along the way. And, yeah. It'll be something to talk about in the future when I finally have a nice car. I'll be remember that year with no air conditioning?
Remember that year I lost 3 stone?
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm going to say when the climate wars hit, you'll be ready. You'll be I've been training for this for the last 5 years.
Yeah. You know nothing.
I was born in the dark, molded by it.
But yeah, like we were saying before, guys, thanks a mil for having us on. We actually have been binging the show in preparation, and Mysteries and Monsters. I just keep in my head now, it's just Eminem, because that's how you say it. And the first, and also real quick, you mentioned on an episode once, I don't remember when, it was pretty recent, the Busta Rhymes and Eminem song Calm Down that sampled House of Pain, you weren't impressed with it? I love it. It's literally on my liked songs playlist on Spotify. It's the only rap song on my whole list.
I have to admit, I came around to it. There's sometimes when I first start listening to it, that beat, the horn or the whatever the hell it is, it grates me at first, but then it's one of those things where I don't know if I think it's mostly Busta Rhymes. I understand it's problematic to like Busta Rhymes in this day and age, but just the man is just good at what he does. Yeah. And having been to Busta Rhymes Island, I feel like this weird kinship with the man, so.
Busta Rhymes Island.
Say again?
So this is something I heard about on the podcast, 99% Invisible, long time ago. There is an island in Massachusetts. It's just a little tiny island in the middle of a lake that some local resident has been trying to have officially named Busta Rhymes Island. And he's trying to use various ordinances. There's sort of like if something is popular usage, because you can't name something after a person if they're still alive for obvious reasons. But there are exceptions where if you can sort of have it enter popular usage, it can kind of become that by default. And so this guy has been, every time it gets changed back on Google Maps, he puts it back to Busta Rhymes Island. And he was trying to have it officially named Busta Rhymes Island because he said there are many things there Busta would enjoy, like I think there was a rope swing and,
okay,
pretty birds and things like this. And so I happened to be passing through that part of Massachusetts with a friend, my friend Mike. I was helping him move from Austin to Boston. And I said, well, we got to stop by Busta Rhymes Island. And so I was there and I communed with it as one does. And so I have this a slightly more affinity for Mr. Rhymes than perhaps ordinarily I would.
So how was it? Like, what's your opinion? Are there, in fact, things that you think Busta Rhymes would enjoy there?
Based on what I know of Busta Rhymes, I don't think so.
I really admired the dude who's like just so persistent with the name. It's like, no, this is Busta Rhymes Island, and I won't hear anything else about it.
In fairness, it didn't look like there was much else going on there.
And still so passionate about it.
There was a time, a long time ago, back when I used to really drink. This would be back when I lived in Revelstoke. Some friends and I bought you guys know what a Bubba keg is?
I don't.
Like the one with like 10 or 15 pints in it?
Yeah, a little mini keg. So
okay,
we bought a couple Bubba kegs of terrible Canadian beers, Molson Canadian. And we got good and ripped. And now this is before we knew what Bill Cosby was. Bill Cosby, of course, is a garbage monster of a human.
Right.
We didn't know this. All we knew of him was these Saturday Night Live tapes we would get from the video store because I'm old. So one night we got super wasted on cheap beer and we we actually forded the river to the sandbar and spelled out "All Hail Cosby" in 4 feet high letters with rocks, which we then spray painted red.
Wow.
So part of me, I think, understands Busta Rhymes Island in a way that, again, maybe I shouldn't admit to.
We admire the honesty about it. I mean,
Yeah.
Again, it's like, how long did that take, though? You know what I mean? It's still a feat of human engineering, in my opinion. Like,
That's right. Stonehenge, the pyramids, all hail Cosby on the river, on the sandbank.
yeah.
Yep. What I'm impressed by is that we didn't die, because that is not a river known for being forgiving.
Oh, well, I mean, it does kind of remind me, like we used to, so I grew up by the beach, lovely area, literally just down the road from Bono, very lucky. I'm not friends with Bono, but I have to walk by his house to get to the beach where I like. But like we would go there as kids and it was like 100 and something steps down. Like we literally, one of the girls had an asthma attack on the way back up one time.
Oh,
and
God.
we were like 15, 16. We were like, will you stop being so dramatic? Come on. And in hindsight, like we really should have called an ambulance for the poor girl.
Oh,
We would hang out on this particular beach because the police couldn't hear, like from the top road, like you heard nothing. There was literally raves on this beach in the middle of the night and you couldn't hear a thing from the top. But we discovered a cave, like kind of around the back, and everybody came back the next day. This is like Stand By Me stuff. Like we all had torches and stuff. We were ready.
Kids want to see a dead body.
Yeah. I don't know what we were expecting, but like we literally I was always a little bit chunkier, but one of the lads was like a good bit smaller, and he managed to like squeeze down through a gap where he couldn't breathe for like while he was in this gap to get out through the other end. He found a bicycle and all. And then as we were all in there, we were like, this is amazing. This is the best thing. This is like our new spot to hang out. And then the tide was coming in and the waves are actually coming up the back of the cave. And we still didn't. We were like, how cool is this? Like, it was only like 2 weeks later, I was like, Dad, you're never going to guess where we were hanging out. Like, we found the spot. And then he was like, you fucking idiot. Like, we really thought it was the coolest thing ever. Yeah, I don't know how. Like, we scaled cliffs to get to the cave as well. Like, anyway, kids, they're just resilient.
In like 6 timelines, we're all dead.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember being in Ireland when Bono built onto his house, and he added the big second floor. He had like the massive master bedroom, and I remember the papers covering it just with this particularly Irish disgust. Like, can you believe this shit? The size of the bedroom. The local council's letting him build this thing. This is disgusting.
They fucking hate Bono, man.
It's unjustified. It's pure jealousy for the most part. But like, if you see it, because it's the whole mindset of like, oh, the neighbor gets a new car, and it's not like, oh, good for him. It's like, what did he do to get that car over there?
Must be selling drugs.
Yeah. I always knew there was something off with him. And it's the same now when you see Bono. Like, Bono will drive past. He actually did drive past you one day, and you went to turn the wrong way up a one-way street because it had changed recently. And I was like, went back home and I was telling my dad again. I was like, oh, I saw Bono down the thing. That fucking ass. Of course, he's going the wrong way. The chap can do nothing right. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? He's doing wonders for the economy, of like for tourism and all. But no.
And meanwhile, Enya's in her castle with all her cats, just keeping to herself.
Yeah. Have you heard of like Enya's castle?
Yeah, it's the haunted castle.
Oh wait, I actually didn't know it was haunted now. Now I'm going to sound like it. Tell me about this haunted castle.
Well, there was a big article, I think, on the BBC a couple of years ago, and it was doing this big thing about this wonderful castle because it's an amazing building that she lives in. Mm-hmm. And people said, "Oh, what's happened to Enya?" And they said, "Well, she lives here in her castle with her cats and her ghosts, and occasionally she'll record something, and that's it. She just doesn't need to leave her castle. So
that's it.
Fair play."
Fair enough.
Wow.
I mean, the story that we always heard when we were kids was that like somebody had broken in and was actually living in it, and she didn't know. Now this could have been like urban legend stuff, but like it was. Again, it's all in the same kind of area where we would walk to go to the beach. So it'd be like, oh, you see that place over there? Like that's such and such. But yeah, that's what we were told. There's some madman living in there, and
it's not far off. I mean, there's some. Like, that shit happens in buildings.
My family are from there. I like, you know what I mean? There are definitely people around there. Like,
I've seen Castle Freak. I know how this goes.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching something the other day. I had to explain the term frogging to someone because they didn't know what it was. And I was like, well, it happens. It's happened quite a lot where people have been living in somebody's attic and they don't know. And it's like they'll come downstairs and think, who's been eating me butter? Or I can't remember leaving that on the side. And then they work out that somebody's lived in their attic for 2 years or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a term for it, though.
I didn't know either.
It's frogging with a PH, it's called.
That's fucking weird.
Isn't that gross? It's happened enough that there's a specific name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, what was that movie? Parasite?
Yeah.
Recently? Oh, dude, that one was like...
Flick?
Korean, yeah.
That was rough. That was really hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because it just made you so uncomfortable. Did you guys watch it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, no.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, it was...
It's a ride.
Very cool, man, yeah.
It'll flare up your anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. I need that. Everything's going so well for me. I gotta let's bring some additional external stress.
Have you guys watched the movie Lamb?
No.
Not yet, no.
I heard you guys talking about it on the show. Is it worth seeing?
It's amazing.
Okay.
So like it's hard. I don't watch a lot of movies. I think I probably said on the podcast. I don't watch a lot of movies because again, it flares up the anxiety.
Right.
Because I need to know what's going to happen. And if I'm watching a movie, because he requests it a lot, I'm like, he's like, come on, let's watch this. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll be in the background, just like Googling the plot so that I know what's coming.
Right.
Because I don't like to be surprised like that. But I was able to just sit with that one. But it's perfect. The ending, I did have to look up like just like a small little detail that I didn't understand. But it's not what you think. I'll say that. Because the way the trailer is, you're like, oh, this is a farmer getting too close to his flock, you know, but it's not that. It's something else. And
it sounds like whales, but it's not whales.
I mean, I didn't want to say it.
Our one Welsh listener's like, well, fuck you then. just turned it off.
I'm going away back home. Oh, no, that's the north. I'm not going to even try. We just did like the Hail Fanog Welsh story. So I felt like I was kind of living there like while I was doing it. And every week I'd be like, all right, this is the week I'm going to like nail the accent. Like, you know, oh, I'm from Bari. That's all I can say. Just that one word, that one line. I'm like, no, I can't even do it. Like,
it's really hard, even though we've like binged Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah.
But it's just rough accent and nailed down.
Yeah. Brennan, I'm not seeing any lines on our recording thing, but I don't know whether that's just because it's our end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm seeing it on my end.
Okay, cool.
Yep,
I just wanted to...
No, I appreciate you checking in.
Yeah, because lately I upgraded my phone, and for whatever reason, now my laptop, every time my phone lights up or something, my laptop's like, let me take over using the phone, and it disturbs our recording.
Oh, no.
So I'm like on alert now. Every time we're doing anything, I'm like, oh, God. Anyway, sorry. Thank you for relaxing me there.
Oh, yeah. No. I understand. I did a podcast a while back. Someone invited me on to talk about the movie Cliffhanger. And so I watched Cliffhanger. I read hours of shit about Cliffhanger. I had all these notes, all these jokes. And then my fucking Bluetooth headphones kept stealing the connection from my microphone, but I couldn't figure out what was happening until later. So I've got all these great, but can't fucking hear anything. Oh, so pissed. So pissed.
Well, we did a live stream for Halloween a few years ago, and my connection just was abysmal, wasn't it? And nobody could hear me for like 3/4 of an hour. And then all of a sudden, I just came back in and just went, the critter from the shitter. And then my connection went off again. So nobody had any idea what I was talking about whatsoever. Just me randomly saying critter in the shitter.
Well, this checks out. This is Paul. Yeah, no, that fits. Yeah.
That's how I'm going to save you as a contact from now on. But I actually, today I did listen to your most recent episode, Paul, about the Black Triangle thing.
Yes. First
of all, I mean, you're both it's actually very intimidating with the well of knowledge, I personally think, that you both have. But Paul, man, you are encyclopedic with your shit. And I'm getting to the point where I'm nerding out, and I'm now going back to old notes whenever I come across something, and it's just to prove myself right. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I knew that was 1963 or something. But you just the drop of a hat, you're like, oh yes, that sounds like, this really minuscule poltergeist case that nobody's ever heard of from 1975 in Bristol. And I do believe that it was this priestess, and I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. I feel like you your research isn't just research. You've just been actually reading everything that you can get your hands on for years, and that really comes through in the show. So I did listen to the Black Triangle one, and I thought I've been obsessed with that since we covered Skinwalker, the Skinwalker Ranch. Don't like the name, but I do love the story. I know that's another controversial story now. It's almost like Amityville at this point. I really enjoyed it, but that was one of the details that they brought up, was this Black Triangle. And I'm like, I've never heard of this outside of America before. And then today you're talking about it, and it's and the guest, I can't remember his name now, but he was saying, oh yeah, and I've 150 stories of people seeing these black triangles, and you just yeah, they're all there. But basically what I'm trying to, in a really roundabout way, is how did you get so invested in all facets of this? Because it's even that book that you just picked up is from the Yowie. I can't pull enough Yowie stories out of my Reddit collection to get an episode together, and you just randomly have this huge book. Yeah. When did that start for you?
Properly, about 5 years ago. I'd been obsessed with it as a kid, and then kind of lost interest in my teenage years, and did a lot. Kind of, still watch bits and bats, and every time there was a good documentary on, I'd watch that, and I've continued. I always read the 14 Times for 30 years nearly now. And so about 5 years ago, I decided that, well, let's start a podcast and see what happens. And I just decided from that point on just to sort of reinvigorate my love for these subjects and just dive into it, because I hadn't got that much at that point 5 years ago. I'd probably got, I don't know, 2 or 3 dozen books and a few on my Kindle. Obviously, it's a bit different now. But it is one of those things. I mean, I do have a social life. I do other things, but I read a lot.
Showing off.
He's like, I have friends.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things that I don't tend to watch a lot of television unless it's sort of odd stuff, which my partner is always amazed at, that I find time to fit some football into that occasionally. But I read a lot, watch a lot, and I think I've just kind of, because I've not tried to suppress it anymore, I'm embracing it all and enjoying it and sort of drinking it all in. It's, for whatever reason, it's just sticking. Whereas 20 years ago, my brain would be filled up with useless stats about football or other such things. And now it's filled up full of strange case notes about random poltergeists from Bristol, as you say. So that's about it, really. Just obsessive.
Yeah, that's I find that's so like that. It's one of my favorite things. Is like just this, because you're not like in your face about it or whatever. It's just like Brendan, you'll ask a question or something, and Paul just has like, it's like having Google like on hand, like, you know what I mean? But for paranormal stuff, and I just thought it was very impressive. And I didn't mean to make that a very interviewy question. It was a genuine, how did that happen to you?
Why are you like this?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Thank you for calling Generico's Pizza. You mind waiting on hold for 15 minutes while I flirt with the new waitress?
What? No, I don't want to wait for 15 minutes. I just want to order a pizza.
What if I promise to burn the pizza, deliver it cold, and stand awkwardly at your door till you tip me?
I say no to all of this.
Look, pal, maybe you're better off going with HelloFresh.
What's HelloFresh?
HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. You get farm-fresh, pre-proportioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. They make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. Not only can you take your pick from 40 weekly recipes, but you can choose from over 100 items to round out your order, from snacks and easy lunches to desserts and pantry necessities. Everything arrives in one box on a delivery day you choose. This May, HelloFresh is celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Try limited-time authentic recipes created in partnership with Chef Serbi Sani of New York City's Tagmo restaurant, and enjoy a cultural taste tour right in your own kitchen. I can tell you from personal experience that HelloFresh cuts down on food waste, saves me trips to the grocery store, and gives me time to cook with my wife.
Didn't you say you were hitting on the new waitress?
Hey, my life is very complicated.
Right. How can I sign up for HelloFresh and end this conversation?
Go to HelloFresh.com/GhostStoryGuy16 and use code GhostStoryGuy16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping.
HelloFresh.com/GhostStoryGuy16 and use code GhostStoryGuy16 for 16 free meals plus free shipping. Done.
Good stuff. Hey, this has been fun, but I gotta go. They're about to tow my Camaro.
Somehow I knew it would be a Camaro. Hey, Bren, I appreciate you giving me a lift.
No problem, my friend. I was just driving around jamming anyways.
I thought we agreed you wouldn't do that in the car anymore.
No. Jam is a new way to share bite-sized audio. Whether you want to connect with your family, a community, or hundreds of thousands of followers, Jam gives you a unique way to communicate through short audio, the simplest and most intimate way to connect.
So it's like podcasts. Are you trying to put us out of business, man?
Not at all. Jam isn't an alternative to podcasts. Far from it. It's a way to start listening before diving into a podcast. Just like there's time in the day for TikTok and Netflix, Jam provides a great way to get a quick summary of what's going on from lots of voices. With categories like news, entertainment, parenting, health and wellness, education, and more. I've even set up a jam for fans of the Ghost Story guys called 30 Spooky Days. Every day in the month of May, we'll be jamming out a different short-form true-life ghost story from our archive.
You know May has 31 days, right?
Yes, but 30 Spooky Days sounds cooler.
Yeah, that's fair. So how can I get started?
If you want to see what jam is all about, start by checking out our jam 30 Spooky Days. Text 30 Spooky, that's 30SPOOKY, to 552266, and you'll get a link to the app and our first episode.
Text 30 Spooky, that's 30SPOOKY, to 552266 for a link to the app and the first episode of 30 Spooky Days. Got it.
All right. Now let's get out of here and go jam.
You mean the app, right?
I mean the app.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/post. That's ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter.com/post.
I was just curious that you used the word suppress. Why did you feel like you had to suppress it?
I just think that my peer group at that time and my personal relationship, it just wasn't very supportive for all that shit, as it was termed. And so, 5 years ago, I made a decision. I drew a line in the sand and went, right, this is my life going forwards now. This is who I should always have been, and I'm not going to hide it anymore. I'm going to be who I should be. To hell with it. And if people don't like it, at the end of the day, I'm sure my friends don't want conversations about Bigfoot when we're down the local pub, but sometimes it happens. Well, somebody will go, "Oh, you still into all that bollocks?" And I'll go, "Yeah, I am, thanks."
Yeah.
Well, good for you, dude.
You're embracing your weirdness, and it's beautiful. I just have to close the door over it.
The cat's opened it.
I hope it was the cat.
So anyway, she's actually on a settee in the back, just destroying it with hair.
Oh, so she's opened it just to come back into the room then.
Yeah.
That's cats.
Nuisance. Wait, Brendan, you were about to start, like, what happened to us that made us this way?
Where does it come from with you guys?
Personally, I was in elementary school, and I don't know how this book came into this elementary school, because I live in Texas, and I'm very conservative about the shit that they keep in the public libraries. But it was a book about this thin and this small, wedged into these huge books, what I thought was huge. I mean, because they're elementary school books, let's be real. But it was about witchcraft and cryptids and stuff. And I found my weird friend, because I don't know if you guys remember, but you, in the back of the cover, there are those little pockets, and you can see who's checked out and when, and they have the little stamps. But that's how I found out who checked out this book. And that's how I connected with friends. And then I just kept those connections that also sort of encouraged the weirdness. And ever since then, I've been looking, I've been interested in the paranormal and the occult and stuff like that. And that's how it started for me.
That is cool. I love the resourcefulness of that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's the most old school. I didn't even know that. That's the most old school social networking. That sounds like it fell out of a Stephen King book, honestly.
Pagan pen pals.
I suppose for me, it was, my mom was just afraid of everything growing up. So it was oh my God, my dad would like to watch, movies like The Exorcist was not allowed in our house. And my parents were young. It's not like they were old and conservative. My mom was just genuinely terrified that if we watched The Exorcist, the house would catch fire or something. So from that, like, she built up such a big thing that, like, when I was finally like 10, 11, 12, I was like, I need to find out, like, what's behind this curtain kind of thing. And then I realized, like, it's not all that scary, you know? Like, a lot of it's pea soup and special effects. But between that and then, this big book from the Reader's Digest, Mysteries of the Unexplained, which it turns out my granny actually got, not even knowing what it was. She was just like subscribed to the Reader's Digest, and they would do like a yearly thing. And it somehow ended up in my hands. And I read about the Banshee. And then it turned out my mom was right, and I ended up sleeping on the floor in their room for like weeks because of this book.
You ran in there like, you were right.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And like, even like, there's such a direct correlation there that like in my head, I still see Reagan from The Exorcist anytime someone mentions Banshee. Like, that's where that, like, so that's how I know, like, that's directly where this is from. But yeah, kind of like that. I was always into, like, you know, the ghosty movies. I would watch like Most Haunted for years. That's, anybody who has listened to our show, I make fun of Derechigade. Okay. Again, I'm not good at accents, but I'll try them. And Derechigade is my favorite. But yeah, like, I grew up watching like those garbage TV shows, and then probably like yourselves, like as a grown up, and you start reading like the actual like stories behind it, and you go, oh, none of that was true, but the actual story was way more interesting than anything they tried to make on the TV. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, now we're here.
Yeah.
Of all the psychics I've seen, I think the Derek Acora show was one of the most shameful. Not the most shameful. Sylvia Brown was the most shameful, but Derek Acora, he was, I saw him in Weston-super-Mare in 2008, and it was bad. It was bad. I mean, part of it was the crowd. The crowd was just, they were half cut. And he was doing that thing like, I've got a K. Oh. And the one guy goes, I've got a mate on Ken Road. No. But that's the guy, he just kept, Ken, it's a K, Ken Road. No.
Let me see what Sam has to say. Sam, guide.
Oh, yeah. Sam was like his spirit guide.
Oh.
Yeah, wasn't that what he said? Like,
yeah, Sam was his spirit guide who would come and help him talk to the spirits, allegedly. Sam says there's danger here. Sam's not happy. Sam's telling me Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick.
That's my favorite one. That, like, that's what actually tipped me over the edge of going, oh man. It was kind of the same as when I found out like the WWE wasn't real fights. Like, you know what I mean? It was a very similar like turning point in my life when I saw that clip of Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick, and then Yvette Fielding just breaking her heart laughing. As soon as the cameras cut, she was like, oh my God.
They did the famous Mary Loves Dick they used to do live shows on New Year's Eve, and they'd gone looking for Dick Turpin's ghost, and that happened live.
Oh, nice.
10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, and he's ranting about Mary loving Dick.
That's rough.
Well, New Year's would be the time.
Yeah.
It's like that year, I forgot where it was. One year they were doing something, and they were near a racecourse. They might have been in York, and they clearly disturbed a couple who were off for a midnight shower. So they could just see this lantern, so this light bobbing on. They're like, "What's this? What's this?" And then they ran over, and there was this couple, and they went, "Oh, hello, what are you doing?" And he said. And I said, we're filming Most Haunted, da-da-da-da-da. And they went, all right. He said, oh, yes, every New Year's Eve we take a walk to a special place at midnight. I thought, yeah.
Can't you see everybody else is also looking for Dick?
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, it's not just Mary.
No, it's not.
A perfectly good evening of dogging ruined.
Yeah. But funny enough, one of the first times I actually went ghost hunting, because again, I always wanted to do it when I was younger, and then moved away and came back home, reconnected with some old friends, and we were all like, oh wait, we're all fucking nerds, like let's go ghost hunting. And like we're right down the pretty close to the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
So that was the first place where we went, and I think it was the first time we went up there, and it's like mad spooky when you go up. We're only talking to the girls from Haunted AF about this as well. Like it's a big, long, curling road around from the car park to the Hellfire Club itself, and it's pitch dark and it's cold, and you're like, oh my God, there's something looking at me through the trees and all. And there's like really weird trees as well, like that actually look like people, even in the daylight, I think. Anyway, we finally get up there, and there's this young lad in his tracksuit with his, girlfriend or whatever. And they were just sitting there because it's also like a really nice viewpoint that looks out over the whole of the city and all the lights and all. It is lovely. And we destroyed their night. And I still feel bad about it because like here's 5 amateur ghost hunters showing up to be like, is there any ghosts in there? And he's like, oh man.
She'll never agree to do this again.
Yeah. And the even funnier part was like they were obviously like, oh, here's these weirdos coming up. And so instead of going back down the path, they just walked straight. And there's no path there.
They still walk.
They just like down through the hedges, and it was just the most bizarre thing because we kind of like just followed their silhouettes like going down. Yeah, I feel so bad for whoever that chap was. If I ever get to meet him, I'm sorry, man.
No, he's still walking. He's just a sexually frustrated phantom. They call him Fuck Squatch. Just disappeared into the trees.
Lost in the woods.
Yeah, no, it was.
Occasionally at night, walkers will just hear coming from the distance. He tries to find some love.
And it's the notorious ghost that now hates ghost hunters because of that.
Get out!
Yeah.
We can tell he's there. We see these mysterious glowing 2 blue balls floating through the woods.
Hear the sound of synthetic fabric rubbing.
Yeah.
It's the walker. He's here.
It's the real Dubliner's uniform as well now.
I thought he was joking when he said everyone wears tracksuits. Because I was like, what was my first time going over there to go see his family? I was like, what should I wear? Like what should I take? Like whenever we go out, like what's the dress code? And he's like, leggings, you'll be fine. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, everyone wears tracksuits. Everyone wears tracksuits when they're looking like to go out to look nice. And he was so right. It was so crazy.
Yeah, if you wear natural fibers, they discriminate against you because they think you're Polish.
I mean, you're not far off.
Oh, I know.
I was always like the smelly rocker, so I had like long hair and basically what I'm still wearing like right now, like jeans and a shirt or whatever. So I like was ardently against wearing tracksuits. It's also because I was like a little bit on the heavy side and it made me feel self-conscious. But anyway, I know lads who like have their lounging tracksuits. They're going out with the lads' tracksuits, and then they're going out for dinner tracksuit. Like, it's I think it's the real epidemic over there personally, but
I remember being in a chippy in Ennis once, and this old man came in and he had this framed picture of the Munster football club from way back, and he's like, and he's showing me and my friend. Of course, we know fuck all about football and or whatever it is, and we're like, oh yeah, and he goes, oh, you're not Polish, are you?
Wow.
No. I mean, you're still a garbage human, but no, we're not Polish. We're ignorant about this for other reasons.
Yeah. We actually we made a stop in Ennis. This is gonna like the ironic thing is, according to our statistics, and again, I'm not equating myself to Bono, but I know Irish people. And I know how they are about supporting their own kind. So we have 70% of our listeners are US based, 20-something% are UK, and then it's like smaller Canada, then Australia, then there's like Taiwan for some reason. We have like, it must just be a little pocket of listeners in Taiwan. And then Ireland's like way down the bottom. So I'm like, I literally have, there's more people in LA that listen to us than at home. And anyway, so I don't think we have any listeners in Ennis.
And the people in Ireland probably hate listening to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They just hate listening now. But no,
remember, on his own planet, Superman's just a guy.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But no, we did do a trip from like coast to coast one day because it was Dulce's first time there. And so I was like, right, let's start on the East Coast and we'll go see the Cliffs of Moher and head back. And I actually have, my granddad's sister lives in Ennis, and we made like a stop just to grab like some sandwiches or something because it's like 20 minutes to the cliffs or whatever. And I think you were like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. This is not. that was the only stop we made, yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, so I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it wasn't very welcoming.
Yeah, no, we weren't there very long. We were flying out of there to Bristol Airport, so it was just a quick stopover. Although my favorite place we stopped, and actually we're gonna have to go here in a sec because Adam and Dulce are going to join us for the Ghost Story Guys live show for patrons. So if you're a patron at the $10 level and above, you get to listen to that at patreon.com/ghoststoryguys. But I will say we had this, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to save that story for the live show because we're running short of time.
Okay.
But guys, where can everyone find you online?
We're available basically wherever you can find the Ghost Story Guys. We're there too, hanging out in the background. And yeah, just again, guys, thank you so much. One point I did want to make really quick is a huge thank you to you both for the mental health awareness. Mm-hmm. It's phenomenal. And like, even me personally, like I've even just had the last couple of weeks were shitty for me, and catching up on your episodes and stuff, it does make a huge difference. You know, it's not falling on deaf ears, basically.
Yeah. Don't stop talking about it.
Yeah. So huge thanks. And again, thanks for having us on as well, because this is great.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Absolutely. Paul, where can everyone find you online?
Mysteries and Monsters is on all social media platforms and also on all good podcast sites.
Fabulous. I'm at Largely the Truth on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. You can find my other podcast, Weird Together, co-hosted with Joseph Camo of The Cardinal Rule. That's a show about independent horror film. You can find that again everywhere fine podcasts live. Our guests were Adam and Dulce from the Weekly Creep podcast. Again, you'll find Weekly Creep everywhere fine podcasts live. Make sure to give them a follow on Instagram. That's where we met them, so I feel like we should give that a special shout out. And of course, we have a musical guest that we're going to be going out on. That guest is listener Tracey Barnett. You can find more music from Tracey at traceybarnettmusic.com. And her song is particularly lovely, and I think you folks are really going to enjoy it. It is called Haunted. Again, that's Tracey Barnett. You can find Tracey streaming on Spotify and again at traceybarnettmusic.com. Folks, thank you so much for listening. If you want to send us a message to be read out on the next episode of Talk Spooky to Me, send it to ghoststoryguys@gmail.com. Until next time, we will leave you with Tracey Barnett and Haunted.
Well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/post. That's ZipRecruiter.com/post. ZipRecruiter.com/post.